and 2 and 1. Everybody, hello, we are live again. Yeah, and this is Gabriel with Online Digital Education Mastery, community of educators on Facebook that collaborate with each other, all right, to help each other succeed. If you compete, I kick you out. Nobody should compete with each other. We should be helping each other out. So today, yeah, absolutely, right, Sharon?
Right, that's right.
Today is Saturday, February 13th, the day before St. Valentine's Day, and it's episode 92. We're speaking with Sharon L. Crawford with About My Sister's Biz, and we are discussing, are you a Christian woman leading in business? That's a good question that we're going to ponder today with Sharon. So let me tell you about who Sharon is. Sharon is an amazing, extraordinary, empowered woman. And she just reminded me that February is the month of women because of love. And she empowers Christian women leaders with a passion to help others to create their successful online presence by helping to design the life and business they desire while keeping God first. She is married, has adult children, and 3 youngish grandchildren. She says, let's be the very best version of ourselves through scripture, study, planning, and prayer. She has a public page as well in a private group on Facebook with the same name, About My Sister's Biz. Also, she helps Christian women find their voice in business using Facebook Organic. And here is her website. For anyone wanting to learn more about her, okay, her website is www.aboutmysistersbiz.com. Join my team, -Maine, join her team, and you will love the free personalized training that she's going to give you guys. So everybody, welcome Sharon Crawford. Welcome, Sharon.
Hi, thank you. So wonderful to be here, Gabe. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. And I think that you have an important message that you want to give, and everybody should be listening to this, especially Christian women. Because as far as I know, and I did some reading, okay, Christian women, like let's say generalized women, okay, are not given that opportunity, to flex their superpower and go out there and put it out there in a way that men don't feel like, she's stepping on my toes. Well, you know what? Too bad if they're stepping on your toes. Christian women should be out there doing the same thing, putting their value out there. And that's something that you're doing and helping women do. And I think that's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. That's my passion.
Well, you're doing a great job, Sharon.
Thank you.
So how long have you been an advocate for Christian women and empowering them?
Okay, well, looking back, I've actually been helping Christian women for like decades, but I never thought about it being something that I could do as a business until just last year. And so I've always been interested in helping women to better improve their selves, better improve their relationships with their spouse and their kids, their family and friends. But I've always just given that help and just, like I said, never thought about making it into a business. So I'm excited that I made that shift last year and changing it over to something that I can spend even more time, because a hobby is great. We all enjoy hobbies, and I love helping people. But once it becomes your passion and it becomes something that you can actually earn a living with, you can spend so much more time in it, right? And so you can just get right into it and just really keep your focus there a lot better.
That's really nice, And last year, like you said, and I talked about this with Elena this past week, the pandemic has given rise to every type of preneur, mompreneurs, solopreneurs, teacherpreneurs, psychopreneurs with Kinsley Grant, mindsetpreneurs, and even Christianpreneurs. Why not?
Yes.
This is the grandest opportunity I think that everybody has right now But the whole thing is that not everybody thinks this way. Like not everybody wants to be that leader. So they do seek out people in leadership positions like yourself to advocate for them, to provide them a path where they feel empowered as well. You know, because it's a lot of work, and what you're doing is a lot of work. You know, in the Bible, there is a classic picture of Jesus washing the feet of the apostles. And he takes this position of a servant throughout his ministry. His ultimate service to us was on the cross. So he teaches us that we need to serve others, no matter our position in life. And this is exactly what you're doing. Can you share a bit about your faith journey?
Yeah, sure. So I actually grew up in the church. So my parents are both Christians, and so I've always been in the church. And well, I say always, there was a little moment that I walked away, and I just was mad at God. I was mad at myself. I didn't like my life. It was just a poor little me kind of thing. And I was going through that for a couple of years. And um, thankfully, my family, my friends, the church family, they did not give up on me, and they continued to pray for me. And my grandmother, she continued to let me know that she was praying for me. And even then, I was a little upset that she was still praying for me. I was like, because I just kind of felt like I wasn't worthy of love, especially from God, especially from his church. And so I went through that. Thankfully, they continued to pray, and they continued to invite me into the church, come back and get back involved again. And it took a little bit of time for me to feel comfortable again. But once I did, I just felt so much love, appreciation for the open arms that I felt like God was just offering me, and that also the church was offering me. And they didn't hold things against me, even though I just felt, like I had just messed everything up. And so, and after that, then I started growing my faith, because before then, I think that I just didn't quite understand what I was needing to do as a Christian woman. And so once I came back into the church, so to speak, not that I actually, like, I know you don't actually leave the church, but like physically I took myself, and just did other things in my life. I wasn't talking to God. I wasn't praying. I wasn't spending time in his word. I wasn't doing any of that anymore for that time. And I think I needed that, though, because now I appreciate so much more. And so it taught me a lot. And one of those things that it taught me was the unconditional love. And I can tell you that I pray that everyone can have a church family, because I've moved several times, Gabe. I have, in the last, let's say, the last 17 or so years, I've lived in maybe 10 or so different places. And I can tell you that I have found the most amazing people in these cities, and have become just just another member of the family, each time. And even the church that we're in right now, I chose for us to move to this home simply because I loved the church family that we had already come to meet. And so if you don't have a church family, I ask that you just get out there and find one. Now, sometimes it will take you a little bit of time. Like when you go into a city, you're not going to necessarily find the first one's not going to necessarily be your church family. But God, if you're open to that, God will lead you to the church family that you need to be in, the one that'll help grow you, and the one that you can help others grow. And so now I've been in the, steady in growth and faith in the church for over, I think it's 2 decades. Yeah, over 2 decades now. And so since that time in my life. And so I've just grown closer and stronger. to the point where I just want to share. And I just feel like there's just so much that's going on in the world. There are a lot of people that are fearful of things. And the thing is, when you have your faith, you don't have to be afraid of your eternal life. You can have confidence in that, and you don't have to live your life in fear. And so I want to be able to help women to be empowered to speak their voice, to talk about God, to talk about their faith, their spiritual life, and to talk to other women, men, children, and to teach others so that they can do the same.
You know, and you have that 20-year experience, like you just mentioned, to be able to accomplish that. A lot of people who have that same experience, they're not even aware that they are that empowered to even have this conversation live and speak to their peers, their community, or even just try to start a movement, in that direction. And that's probably because of one of two things. One is the fixed mindset, and the fixed mindset, like you mentioned earlier, it's a judgmental mindset. And that's something that you were able to experience in your church, which was they didn't judge you based on you coming and going and maybe slipping and sliding. You were just going through life, your own life, trying to find your way. And they provided you with that, growth mindset option, which is, we're not here to judge you. We're here to help you grow. We're here to help you, become the person that you are based on what you believe in. And now you get to share that with women and empower them to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And we need more of that. There's a lot of televangelists throughout the years, and we know about those, right? I mean, one of the biggest ones that I remember was I think his name was Pat Roberts or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Joel Osteen being one of the biggest ones in modern times, for example, But these are all men. Very few women are empowering women in the Christian sector. And I think this is wonderful that you're doing that. Some people, okay, with the gift of leadership avoid using it, okay, because it requires hard work and lots of responsibility. Others have not developed their gifts due to lack of training. You apparently have good training. So motivating people takes energy and commitment. Effective leaders, okay, like yourself, have a strong call from God, right, to lead along, okay, with the courage and the self-confidence to carry out God's vision for his people. What leadership experiences do your subscribers report having had prior to participating in About My Sister's Biz?
Okay, well, there are different things. We're women from many areas. Like we're in other countries, and then of the U.S. We're in different states and things, and so we've got a lot of background, and so we come from different spaces, and I think that's important to remember when we're talking to each other, and that our relationship with God is not going to be the exact same as another lady. So
Right.
that's one thing to remember. Okay.
Right. It's a personal
Another
thing.
thing, yeah, it's personal to your walk because your life is not going to be the same as anyone else's walk.
Right.
And so another thing to keep in mind is that our our re, where we live is going to have a different lookout, as to how we're going to look at things, and so our outlook is going to be different. And so the things to keep in mind is you got to have that desire, right? And you may not even know which way you want to go with things. You may not know if you want to have strength just in like a personal business, or if you want to have strength towards a job, or show that strength in your family, or maybe in your church family. You want to have your strengths, your Christian strengths. They might be that you're going to strengthen them in different ways, but the main thing is you got to have that desire. You've got to have that mindset that you mentioned. And so the desire has to be that you want to do it. God knows when we're being fake, right? So we can't you can fool people, but you can't fool God. And so you got to be careful to make sure that you've got the mindset, and then once you've got that, you're good to go. You can just jump right in and start learning and focusing, jump in the group and contact me privately. Some of the ladies contact me privately, and so we'll have discussion that way. But you've got to be able to just be open to change, and because being in a spiritual walk is not the same as being in a non-spiritual walk. And I know a lot of people like to focus sometimes, if you're not in a spiritual walk, of the things that you have to let go of, the things that you can't do. But honestly, my walk is so amazing and awesome that I don't think about the things that I can't do or whatever. I just keep my focus on what God is good with me doing. And so you've got to just be able to be ready for growth and to have someone to help you. And that's another thing, Gabe. A lot of people don't like to reach out for help.
Right.
And see, as a Christian, that's what you want to do. You want to help others. I mean, like, that's where I get my joy. So if you're not going to let me help you, then you're actually taking away my chance at joy. And so you got to be able to reach out for help when you need it, and be open for growth and spiritual mindset to be where you need it to be.
You know, that inner talk, inner self-talk that we give ourselves, nowadays, based on a fixed mindset, is quite negative. With the I can't, or things are impossible, or I'm not sure. And as an educator, language is such an important part of our lives in terms of are we going to be positive and move forward, because words are impacting. So when we fill our inner self-talk with all these, let's call them what it is, negative words, because they're basically convincing oneself of, I'm not possible. Well, if God is possible, then you're more than possible.
Yeah.
And therefore that behooves you to want to believe in yourself that much more. And as a woman, as a Christian woman, I think that's more important. And not just a Christian woman, let's say all women. Because, okay, let's call a spade, right? All throughout humanity, women have not been given that equal leverage as men, right? There's always been some men first, women second, but in these modern times, there's a lot of women who have already broken that mold, that stereotype. And in the Christian mentality, because it seems to have been quite oppressive still, subjective, like, you're a religious woman, a Christian woman, your duty is this. You don't talk, you don't look up, things like that. Christian women can be empowered as well and be a bigger voice than men, and they should be. Looking through the Old and the New Testaments, for example, the significance of the gift of leadership for women in the Bible days became evident. Women such as Deborah, Esther, Huldah, Mary Magdalene, Phoebe, and Lydia are a few of those who contributed their leadership skills and provided models for women today. How has your attitude, your knowledge, and understanding of women in leadership changed?
Oh, completely. Well, a couple of things. One thing is that, let's see, maybe 2007 or so, I started with this thing that had to be an internal thing, because I needed to make a change to how I was thinking, because just like you said, the negative. So when someone asked me how they're doing, I automatically would reply, I'm doing awesome. How are you? And so most of the time I do say that, even when I'm not really feeling my best. I'm like, oh, I'm awesome. um, if it's my husband, like this morning, he said, "How are you?" I said, "I'm awesome." It's 3:30 in the morning, but I'm getting there. But the thing is, I can say that I'm awesome,
Right.
or I can say that I'm good. I can say that I'm fine. I could say I'm not doing so great, but I still get to choose. How am I going to answer? How am I going to start this conversation?
Yeah.
So I choose to start the conversation by saying that I'm awesome. And so just like yesterday, I was out in a business and a guy came up and he's, just small talk, and he just says, "Hi, how are you doing today?" And I told him that I was awesome, and I asked him how he was doing. And he said, "What? You're awesome?" And so that does start a lot of conversations when I'm out and about. Not as many these days because everybody's got the mask on, so it is kind of hard to hear what people are saying these days. But I've been doing it so long now that I know to make sure that I'm pronouncing it clearly. Because in the beginning, somebody would say you're awful. But then I would think, well, why do you think I'm awful if I got a smile on my face? But what I'll tell some people, just like I told this gentleman yesterday, was that it's because I serve an awesome God.
There you go.
How can I be just okay
Right.
or just good if I'm also serving God, who is awesome and amazing? And so, because I'm made in his image and I serve him, then I am awesome by default. I'm not saying that I'm any better than anyone else. I'm just saying that I choose to be awesome because God is, he's my God. And so, so mindset is huge. And I feel like that's the first step. So once you get past that and you can start taking in the knowledge that he's giving us in the word and everything. And I feel like also meditation is something that is very helpful. Just being quiet, and I started meditating off and on a little bit a few years ago, and I never really took it serious.
Right.
And I had in the church, and she suggested that when I want to meditate on Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. And
Wow.
she told me how to break that down and just really just get quiet and be calm and focus. And sometimes that's the hard part because your mind just wants to race and do all of these things. And so be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. When you break that down, you can't help but just be calm.
Yeah.
And so meditation is part of it. And then like you can see my diffuser in the back. And so last year I didn't we all make a lot of changes last year? Like we made so many changes. And
Of
some of the
course.
changes were forced on us. And some of the changes were because we're like, you know what? I could let this year be better for me, or I could let this year be bitter for me.
Right. Right.
And I choose to make 2020 better for me. And so, but there are a lot of people that struggled with everything. And it's not that you are not struggling. There are things going on in the world that you can't control, and that's always going to be, right? There are things that we cannot control, but I can change and control my own attitude. And so my own attitude is that I want to be awesome and I want to be better. And so, some changes that I made was making meditation a standard for me. And so I meditate every night, and I've been doing that for about a year. And so I also meditate a lot of times in the morning. If I can't get it in the morning, I try to get it in like early afternoon. So meditation is good. The diffuser, I use the essential oils, and I do believe that we're taught about essential oils in the Bible. And so I do have a lot of essential oils that I will use to just help with just that energy and excitement that you can have from that, or the calmingness that you can have from that. And so I just made a lot of changes in 2020, and now I've continued those changes in 2021 so that I can make my life and the people around me make their lives better too.
Well, you certainly have the right attitude, you certainly have the right knowledge, and you certainly have the right understanding, of women in leadership. And that empathy goes a long way. You also mentioned the essential oils, which, is something that I know that you offer. And you offer an amazing 12-week self-improvement lesson plan, which is pretty cool. A Bible-based essential oils business idea and a paid mentoring program to Christian women, which is also very cool, as a complete package based on attitude, knowledge, and understanding. Can you embellish on the powerful transformation Christian women will realize after experiencing your personal coaching?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so let's start with you mentioned the 12-week. Okay, so the 12-week lesson plan, when we went through that, I can tell you that we just fed off of each other. We got so many ideas from each other. Yes, it's a lesson plan and it's set up to guide us through, but because we as Christian women have so many different things going on in our lives, we've got so many things that we were able to bring to it and make it. It was wonderful because we could see life and see like a question from different points of view. So, like when you're reading something, let's say you're reading a book that's going to be for helping you breathe better or something. Well, you can see it from your point of view, but it's hard for you to see it from another point of view. But when you go through a lesson, like this lesson plan is set up, you can either do it individually, yes, even better, one-on-one, or even better in a group setting. So you can do this lesson plan and you can get that free from me. All you have to do is contact me. I can send you that out. So this lesson plan is great because it's 12 weeks and it's going to walk you through how you can to just improve so many parts of your life. It's talking about improving your mindset and your knowledge, and how can you be humble, and just so many different things that it's going to walk you through. So that's one thing that I really feel like is fantastic for you to start with. Another thing that you mentioned was the essential oils. So that is something, like I said, that I brought more so into my life last year. Once again, that was something that I had started years ago, but I wasn't really focused on it. It was just kind of something that I did a little bit. But I made the commitment last year to let me just see how this is going to affect me. Is this going to be good for me? Is this not going to be good for me? And if it's going to be good, let's take it into the next year. I did take it into 2021 because I did see improvements for it for myself. So with the essential oils, that's something that if you would like, you can learn and you can join my team. I do some personalized training with that, and my leader, she does that as well. So that is wonderful. And so you can learn about essential oils, whether you want to use them yourself or for your family, your friends, however you want to do that. And so you can learn more about that. And so that's a couple of things that I did. Now, with the coaching, the ladies that I've helped coach, it's been different people with different things. So, like one lady that I can think of is she has a brick and mortar. And so the thing that she needed to do was she needed to be able to get new customers. The customers that she already had, they were satisfied. They were doing well, but she needed to grow her business. And she actually started this the end of 2019. And so she just needed to grow her business. And so I gave her some ideas, and thankfully they took, and she was able to continue. And actually, she still does all that right now too, and it still helps her to get new business. Let's see, another lady that I can think of. She was just wanting to help with her personal growth. Okay, so she wants to branch out and have a business, but she wanted to work on herself first. And so she and I just worked on her own mindset, and just grew that. And so she would just see that love for herself because that's where it needed to start. And so once she was able to start seeing more love for herself, then she can give that love more to other people, you know?
Absolutely.
And let's see, another lady, and I've only coached ladies, so I don't know about coaching guys, but
The guys, I don't deserve you.
so so with another lady, like she owns a spa, right? And so I was able to help her to have ideas of how she could market her business better, so that she again would not just have new customers, but so that the customers that she already had would be continual. Because with a spa, for you to have a growing business, you need to have um, those clients to come in weekly or monthly. So we just talked about ways that she could grow her current clients to be regulars and to go out, because with COVID and everything going on last year, that really changed her business with the spa. And
Yeah.
so she had to adapt very quickly to be able to not go out of business. And so that was what we kept our focus for her. So that just gives you some examples of some ladies that I've talked to, and how we've just worked on improving themselves, their businesses, and also I do a free consultation too, to see if it's even something that we want to do.
Well, there's certainly no better time than last year's zombie pandemic 1.0 and this year's 2.0 version, to get involved with faith healing, believing more in God, believing more in yourself, being a Christian woman, because all these stresses that are occurring, they're only occurring to those who accept stress as a normalcy of life, and as long as we have that kind of faith in ourselves or faith in God, there really shouldn't be any stress. And it makes me think about this last one that you mentioned, this client of yours with the spa. Okay, you cannot get your client into the door because we got lockdowns or whatever, but you can get them on a StreamYard live or on a Zoom call, and you can still convey the same kind of, peacefulness, the same kind of, just relaxation techniques, in a virtual environment. You may not be able to, give them that physical need, I guess, but a spa is so mental, it's so spiritual.
Yes, and in time, she was able to actually branch out and rethink things, and started going to people's homes and businesses and offering um, massage as well. So it took her a little bit of time, but she was able to branch out and start doing that towards the end of the year.
And of course, that was thanks to you. I'm impressed, okay, by the women leaders, especially the ones that have sprouted over the last, year and change because of the pandemic. Their knowledge and their lives are extraordinary, just like yours. Okay. As recently as December of last year, I interviewed Katrina Wilson, Lemonade to Laptop CEO. I interviewed a young millennial motivational speaker and entrepreneur named Fatal Nawar from Bangladesh. Just recently, Josephine Adeniji, CEO of Eloquent Speech International in Nigeria, Lagos. And this past week, a colleague of ours, Elena Zenger, Homeschooling for Parents, and I expect to speak to many more this year in all facets of leadership. Has this 21st century finally become the era which empowers small business women to rise and let their voices be heard?
Yes, yes. And I think the time is now. I think that the women that are even considering wanting to get out and be heard need to be taking this bull by the horns, and need to be just getting involved, getting into the right groups, uh, need to get into the groups, and into the personal one-on-one coaching, so that they can improve themselves and see what their potential is, because there are so many diamonds in the rough that are just not sure about themselves, and they just need that right person to help them find their jewel, right? And so I feel like whether it's me or if it's another person that's going to be able to help you, you need to just be able to get in these groups. You need to be able to get into this coaching, and you need to find out what you have to offer. Because I can guarantee you, if you're even considering going out into the world and being a voice that's heard, you've got something. You've got something to give. And don't believe that you don't, because that's the negativity talking, and that's a lie.
Yeah, don't listen to that little voice in your ear. That's the bad guy in your life. Listen to the other one.
Yeah, that's not God talking to you right there. God's going to let you know that you've got something. You've got something. So you need to know that there are people that are out there that will, help you and listen to you and help you just find your story, because everybody's got a story. What I like to tell my husband is, like, when we go by, we're driving and we go by a house that's just like in ruins, and I will just say that house has a story.
Yeah, it does.
And you know what? Every person has a story. And if you're even considering being out there and being a voice, you've got a story that's need to be told. And so you need to just get in touch with someone, like I said, whether it's me or someone else, and figure out how to tell that story, whether it be social media or it be a book or whatever it needs to be. But you need to get that story out there, because you never know who you can help because you spoke up.
That's something that I tell educators, and I try to convey that message on a daily basis. You have experience, and you have some kind of skill sets that you've developed over time that can help other people. And I say this because, for whatever reason, educators feel like they're stymied, they're not growing. So the way to grow is to get another degree, to get another certification. And it's like, no. How many times do you got to do that before now you take all of that you've already, experienced over 20 years, 10 years? I met an educator with a 30-year experience. And you take that and now provide that, serve people with that, give those people the solutions that you've experienced so that they can get on, they can grow, they can become something else, they can evolve. And it allows one, to evolve as well, to continue now on that path of life, which is a little more rewarding than feeling all stuck. Like, what do I do now? When you feel stuck, what you should do is help somebody. And Facebook, I think, is the better platform right now. You and I use Facebook for the same purposes. I use it simply for two reasons, based on what I've already learned over the last 7 months. Facebook has 30% of the global population subscribed. That's almost 3 billion people, on this platform, 2.7, something like that, 2.8. And all it takes is just 100 people out of 2 billion to help. And any one individual, any educator, because you're an educator as well, if you can find just 100 people who make a difference in their life, that's just rewarding in itself, and the blessings happen simply because it just does. So there really is no excuse. And the second reason is, Facebook focuses on communities. And there's a lot of other social media sites that are not focused on that specifically, communities. And that's why I stick to Facebook. I've been, and I am right now currently, I think it's like part of 15, maybe 20 teacher communities. And it's amazing to me, the mindset, global mindset of educators, right? A lot of them still have that purist mentality where you got to smack a kid with the ruler to make them understand. And then I've met the opposite extreme, which are those like me who are trying to pave the way for 21st century niche education, self-education, like you are doing as well. We're trying to empower people to have a positive learner's mindset, a growth mindset, not that feels judged, not one that feels, demeaned, humiliated. all the bad words that make us believe that we're just not capable. Good people like yourself are empowering Christian women with that growth mindset here on Facebook. I think that's extraordinary. I think you should be more than rewarded for what you're doing. And keep doing it because you're on the right platform. I think that you're going to do extraordinary things. And I think during the course of the year, I'm going to get to see that because I've seen already what you started doing since last year. You and I started to come up together in the same community.
Right.
And that's why we're having this conversation, and I've seen your growth, and, it's something to talk about. You have a great story and you should definitely share it with people more often. If anybody wants to know about Sharon's community, the website, okay, is About My Sister's Biz, okay, .com/join my team -Maine. Join her team and you will love the free personalized training. And believe you me, you're going to love her training. So, Sharon, really, this has been, I think, a very good conversation. I want to be able to do this again with you. This is the second time that you and I speak, right? First, you interviewed me, I'm interviewing you. We've come a long way since that. But down the line in this 2.0 pandemic year, I think we should have another conversation and revisit this because people should continue to know what you're doing and why you're doing it and just get involved, and I think you're a magnificent person. Thank you so much, for being here
Thank
today.
you. Thank
So
you.
anybody,
Reach out to me. Just you can find me on Facebook, just like he's mentioning, About My Sister's Biz. I have a private Facebook group that's just for the ladies, and that's where we just share. And then there's a public page that's About My Sister's Biz, and that's for the guys and the gals.
well, no men allowed, really. Don't allow any men, okay? They're going to come and try to rearrange the furniture or something, and you don't want that. So, everybody, thank you so much, Sharon, for being here. This is Gabriel there we go, Online Digital Education Mastery. This is a community of educators here on Facebook, and we share for each other's success. Sharon, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again. You have a great day. Happy Valentine's Day as well.
Yes, you too. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon.